Hello, fellow Star Wars fans. My name is Star Raptor, and welcome to the channel. It's time to talk about some Star Wars comics that came out this week. We have three big ones to talk about. The first one actually is from Dark Horse. This is Hyperspace Stories issue number 3, written by Cecile Castellucci with artwork by Andy Dugan. So this has an adventure between Finn and Poe and between the events of The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. They are out scouring the galaxy for some livestock to feed the small resistance force. And it's basically a Western vibe, cowboy-esque issue in this series where we have these two guys going to this little royal town just trying to figure out what kind of animals they can bring back and harvest and all that good stuff. And well, they get word that there's actually some spare parts on this train and they could use spare parts too, so they go investigate, and wouldn't you know that First Order is there, and we get into some hijinks. Long and behold, they get away with parts and with a bunch of livestock, so it's all around a good time. And there's that Easter egg of a teddy bear that was in episode or issue 1 and issue 2. They find that teddy bear and give it to Rey, and it finds itself having a nice, lovely home. So getting into some things that I noticed. First off, we have the species of Meeber Gascon present in this issue. That'd be cool if it was actually him, but it's not explicitly stated there. I do like the artwork. There's a point where they're running around the train, Finn and Poe being chased by the First Order, and it's this great like side shot as if it would be like a Super Nintendo game or something there. They arrive back at the Resistance base with a YT-2400, aka one of my favorite ship in Star Wars. I'll say it, right? That's the ship, the Outrider, the same kind of design. It's not the Outrider, but the one that Dash Rendar wrote in. So all around good times were had in this issue. Next up, getting into Marvel territory, we have a brand new story starting with Yoda issue number 1. This one's written by Cavan Scott with artwork by Nico Leon. And this is part 1 called Light and Life and Coming of the Jedi. And this is a 10-issue maxi series. We're going to have different authors. We're going to have Jody Hauser, and there's somebody else, so I think it's working in 3s or 4s of a story arc. So we are in the High Republic at this point. We have these people on this planet where there's these two warring types of people, and the one kid out of the people that we would think of the good guys called the Scalvi, he is able to send a message to the Jedi High Council, and Yoda responds. And Yoda is there to defend the people as a knight of the Old Republic, as he does, and he's going against the Krulkin. So we see him fighting off these people, and then when things are safe, he ends up sending a transmission with a droid back to the High Council saying he's going to stay there for a while. Yoda is going to stay there for a while, and we're not sure how long, but he's going to stay there until he feels like the time is right to leave. So I'll be honest, there wasn't a whole lot in this issue to really glean, but I do like the framing of the story where we have Yoda at his HUD. He's kind of thinking back. It's a very similar framework to what we got from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series earlier in this year. But yeah, you get to see Yoda kicking ass with a green lightsaber, taking out these mechanized devices, and just all around being a really cool guy. We do see Vader is on the council, some High Republic callbacks to that. And yeah, it's just interesting seeing just different ways that Yoda is interacting with these kids. I do get a vibe of that Yoda arc from the flagship Star Wars series written by not John Cassaday, but the very first writer for Star Wars there. That's the author. Anyway, getting into the big one for Jason Aaron's the writer. Jason Aaron. Happy I corrected myself without having to look back. Moving on to the biggest one. We've been getting promotion for this issue for a very long time, and that is the very oversized issue of Star Wars Revelations issue number 1, written by Mark Guggenheim with an entire cast of different artists. Very much Salvador LaRocca and a whole bunch of other people, Guru FX, whole bunch of different writers. We have Kubert, Mason, Fry, Perez, LaRocca, Falsher, Sanchez, Almara, Guru FX. I wanted to give everybody credit there. So this story is basically, it is in a nutshell, this is a preview of what's to come in the Star Wars Marvel Comics in the year of 2023. So this is beyond the current arcs of Bounty Hunters, Darth Vader, Hidden Empire, which is only going to go one run anyway, the flagship Star Wars series, Dr. Aphra. This is like 3 or 4 months in our time, like what those storylines are going to look like. So the whole framing device is Darth Vader at this time, as we know, is in between the events of Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Darth Vader is at his home in Mustafar, is getting a call from the Eye of Webbish Bog. He's getting a call as in like getting a call through the Force. You can see that it's talking to him through the Force. So he goes and investigates, and he gets to see the future, essentially, is what's happening. So we get a peek at what's happening in each of these issues. We see what's going on in the Darth Vader issues, where Sabe is eventually going to confront the Emperor and work for the Emperor, get a new suit of armor. With Dr. Aphra, we find out that the Spark Eternal is maybe going to be overcome by Aphra eventually. She's going to be able to withstand that and take over herself once again, which we would expect, right? In the Bounty Hunters issue, we have Byron Valance being basically taken out by Hayden, his own lieutenant, right? Being taken out by him, but not quite, because Vader explains to her in the future that it's not quite easy to kill Byron Valance because he's like 90% a cyborg, just like Vader. He's got experience. So he wants her to send a very efficient squad. So he gets her to tag for Inferno's squad to go in there. But then we also see Byron Valance like taking out the Gan Zuckus and taking out a bunch of people like Bosk. So there's a lot going on with that storyline. Very interested to see what's happening there. We also get a little bit more with the flagship Star Wars series, where we see that there's this droid named Ajax Sigma, which, by the way, is being resuscitated by Han Solo and Chewbacca in their own series that we have now. That's where it's going to tie in. That thing that's in a drawer is actually its central processing unit, and this droid was made in the High Republic, a very deadly droid. So anyway, flashing back to the Star Wars flagship, Luke senses some call to the Force, some very big disturbance, and finds a bunch of dead people and finds out that there's this droid there that has been killing these people, and he fights them with a lightsaber, and that's it. But then we get this beautiful splash page of what is happening, just like this maelstrom events, things that may happen, things that might not happen. We see Sabe putting on Darth Vader's helmet. We see Luke Skywalker balancing a red kyber crystal versus a green kyber crystal. We're seeing Kira taking down the Emperor. So much is going on there. And by the way, the Spark Eternal will somehow be interfacing with the Fermata cage that we have just seen in Hidden Empire #1. And the Fermata cage is actually holding the Sith Lord moment that we've seen in the Darth Vader series, written, of course, by Charles Soule. So this issue really just brings everything together. It ends with Darth Vader killing a bunch of Mustafarians that are trying to take him out and trying to take out, maybe there was a trap laid by the Eye of Webbish Bog. So we see that happening, and then we see Vader talking to the Emperor about, hey, you got to hunt down this Fermata cage because you know the consequences. If this Sith is summoned, we are screwed. So there you go. That's everything that happened in Revelations in a somewhat concise way, hopefully for you guys to parse this thing together, because this was a thick issue, right? This is $5.99 issue, very oversized, basically 2 issues worth in this one. But yeah, those were the comics that came out this week. Let's talk about them in the comment section down below. For more on Star Wars, you're already in the right place. I have my companion videos for the Andor episodes for Season 1, but I've also been doing High Republic videos as well. So make sure you go ahead and check those out. That's going to do it for me, Star. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also included 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram @StarRaptor.